Balls Podcast
with Mark Davis, Kriska Meinhardt, Luke Rule, Jake Winnikine, Alan Tomasella, and Nick the Doc Skirkle. Good evening. It is September 3rd on a beautiful Tuesday night. This is All About the Balls Podcast. I'm Mark Davis, joined alongside Luke Rule, Nick the Doc Skirkwins. Jake Winnikine should be joining us very shortly. He had something come up with another fantasy draft. I think it's like his 20th fantasy draft that he's in. I don't know how the man does all these fucking leagues, but he's in them all. And, he says he's going to be hopefully joining us. If not, I have his stuff ready to go. And what I mean by ready to go, I mean it is time to give our predictions for the playoffs. That includes our Super Bowl predictions. It includes our top 10 draft order, who we think, I even got creative. I even fucking asked you guys to screenshot me the top 10. We're just going to look quickly, briefly, how we feel about that. But before we do anything, we're also going to talk college football. We're going to talk week 1 of the NCAA. A lot of stuff happened. Luke, your team kicked off. One of the teams that kicked off last Thursday night, the UCF Knights over New Hampshire. How you feeling coming off Labor Day weekend, the Knights being 1-0? And, of course, the Ravens kicking off the NFL in 48 hours.
Yeah. I mean, every win's a good win. So, I mean, I'll take it. A lot of improvements. KJ was pretty terrible for the most part. But our run game is what carried the team. I think we had over 450 yards rushing total with 3 running backs over 100 yards. So, I think our run games will be solid, but KJ's got to learn how to throw football. Defense played well, but we also play in New Hampshire. So a little step up next week playing Sam Houston. So not a big step up, but a little step up before we get into conference play.
I think Sam Houston is an FBS school. So, I mean, it is a step up.
Yeah,
but like I said, he wins a good and he wins a good win too, Luke, like you said. Wins a win.
Yeah. Wins a win.
Doc.
We had the UCF had the biggest point spread out of the Big 12 too. So,
what was your final difference score?
57-3.
Man, 57-3. Yeah, even if Texas would have stayed, you guys would have had the highest one by a couple points. So, Doc, how are you doing coming off Labor Day weekend? You took a tough loss. The Seminoles did drop at least 30 spots. I saw they're no longer in the top 25. That will be a talking point probably once we hit that college football time frame. Might not be the first topic we talk about, but it's definitely gonna be one of the first ones. How you doing though, man?
Yeah, season's over for me. GG's y'all. We'll see y'all next August. But college football's dead to me this year. That's tough.
Last year you didn't want to watch the rest of the bowl season because the committees quote unquote screwed you guys. This year you're not watching.
Don't fucking listen. Don't quote unquote me, okay? The team went 12-0, won the conference. 13-0, won the conference. Don't quote unquote me, okay? They got screwed. I don't care if we would have gotten blown out. We deserve to be there.
Well, this year you're going to quit watching because the team is just ass. So it's not nothing to do with the committee this year. It's just your own team. It
can't be the committee, Mark. We're in week fucking 1, buddy.
Well, I did the committee. Well, Shannon Sharp
or no, committee until like halfway through the season.
Yeah, committee ain't even out of bed yet.
Paul Feinbaum did say, I'm not a big Paul Feinbaum guy, but he did make me chuckle today. He said that Florida State's probably trying to find someone to sue right now. I was like, God damn!
Oh, stop!
I saw they started a petition looking for ways to get DJU's NIL money back. So there's a little Discord thread or a Reddit thread talking about it.
That might go down as one of the worst investments in NIL history. I mean, this guy is just the epitome of what is awful. When I think about a FBS quarterback, a Power 4 quarterback, this guy didn't make it in the ACC the first time around.
Nope.
Didn't really impress at Oregon State.
We looked better.
We thought he played better, but I don't think he impressed. And we thought, hey, he's the guy for FSU. But you know what the sad part is, though? He was the best option at the time. Because Rodemaker, we saw what he could do, and he's gone. Tate Rodemaker's a sack of shit. Good riddance, buddy. Enjoy the FCS.
Also, shout out to you, Wendell. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if last year at FSU was good, obviously, until the Jordan Travis injury. This year, unfortunate situation. But, yeah, I'm doing great. Texas, I mean, it was Colorado State, like Luke said. It's not the biggest competition. Colorado State is an FBS school. They're in the Mountain West. But, I mean, we did skunk them 52-0. I mean, like you said, Luke, a win's a win. I'm going to take it. That's momentum going forward against Michigan this week. We're going to talk about Michigan, Texas tomorrow night.
A little Arch got some play time, some quality
Arch
reps.
did get some playing time. His mechanics look a little weird to me, but hey, man, if it works, it works for you. You know, I mean, if it just looks different.
5 or 6, right, or something like that.
Sarkisian called him out too. He's like, "Yeah, he was out there. Didn't like some of the plays, but
that's
like,
the coach,
dude.
Well, that's
that was
the
the
coach
loudest
for you.
cheer. That was the loudest cheer fucking Texas had all game too. Was when he ran out.
Yeah,
it was the last year because they've been waiting to see him, and they knew they had a whole quarter to see him. Yeah, like you said, Wendell, he did move the ball. I mean, it was our backups versus their backups. I'm not saying Arch should be starting anytime soon. Next year, of course, 2025 and 2026, hopefully he plays 2 seasons. Proves me wrong. Like I said, I wasn't a big fan of him coming, but if he's going to be good, he's going to be good. Jake's team, the Florida Gators, he's not in at the moment. They took a tough loss, so I understand he's probably a little upset that Miami.
Where is this talk coming from? The Florida Gators? Who expected them to be good this year? Because I don't know where that's coming from.
I don't think Jake expected it, but he's going to talk his shit while he can. Chris's team, LSU, they took a tough loss Sunday night against that was a very good game, I thought. USC and LSU, their defenses, I don't know, man. They just both impressed me. And then Allen's team out there where he's at, he's a Tennessee fan. They beat the hell out of Chattanooga, and then now they play NC State this week, so that's a ranked rivalry. We'll talk about that one tomorrow night too. But so 3 of our teams won, 3 of our teams lost. So hopefully we get better this week going forward. Well, Doc, your team can't lose. It is a bye week. Or I'm sorry, in college and off week.
My team won. Season pressure's off this year.
But it's time, boys. It's time to reveal our playoff predictions. Like I said, we're going to try and spend about 40, 45 minutes doing this, about 40, 45 minutes doing college talk. That's the way Tuesdays and Thursdays are going to work. We're going to try and spend about 45 to 50 minutes on NFL on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and then another 30 to 45 minutes on college. But so we have our playoff predictions going here. Luke, I'm going to pull it up in 1 second. I didn't realize that only 4 of us were going to be, or 3 of us were only going to be in here. So, Luke, we don't have to sit here and talk all day on
that. Look at that.
So we have to talk all day on why you have 1 through 7 on each side. But I want you to lead us off here with the AFC. Tell us who you have there and just quick reason.
Oh shit!
We don't have to argue about it.
I think the top 4 are pretty obvious. All playoff teams from last season. I think they repeat. Kansas City. They're gonna do what they do in their fucking conference is pretty weak anyways. It's Kansas City and nobody else. Ravens. I think just like last year, 3 AFC North teams make it. So just a different 3. Added the Bengals in this year. I have no faith in the Steelers at all. Seeing what they did in the preseason with Justin Fields and Russell Wilson. If Burrow's healthy, I think the Bengals make the playoffs as a wild card. And I got the Jets in there just in case Aaron Rodgers stays healthy the entire season. No Bills for me. I'm off the Bills fam.
Yeah.
I don't trust their defense. I think it's really weak, and their offensive weapons are not great. They got a couple. They got James Cook and Keon Coleman. Other than that,
you better put some fucking respect on Dalton Kincaid, buddy. You better put some respect on Dalton.
Kincaid's all right too, but their defense is going to be their issue. They're going to be shootouts every week. It's going to be put on Josh Allen's shoulders every single week to do what he did at the end of the season last year. That's
how it's been. That's how it's been.
Well, Luke,
the 3 years for him.
The Bills did the logo did make the screen for you later on. It's just not in the right for them, not the right spot.
Yeah, I told you this would be a tough season for them. Tough season, but NFC side, pretty self-explanatory. I do have somehow the Bucks made it over Atlanta, which either team I think they're tossed up between those two. And Cowboys, Dak's playing for a contract this season. And the Rams got Matty Stafford, so you know what he can do when he's healthy.
Do we?
Yeah.
Do we? Because he was pretty healthy at the start of last season.
Well, second half he looked pretty. Well, he's coming off that elbow injury, and he looked better when he got the rust off. They went to the playoffs.
Yeah, plus Cooper Kupp didn't play. The first 6 weeks of the season.
Hey, you didn't need Cooper with Puka, okay? Nobody needed Cooper last year.
Now they got 2 running backs instead of just one running back. So I mean, I think their defense will be okay. They got the 2
For real,
Florida
Tony.
State boys on the 2 Florida State boys to try to replace Aaron Donald. So I think they'll be all right. I think they make the playoffs. Nothing crazy coming out of the Rams, but I think they make it. Plus,
Tony, don't worry.
A lot of teams in the NFC with bad records.
Don't worry, Tony. Those Bears will come along on some of our. Like I said, I have all 6 of ours, so I'll be talking for 4 of us, honestly, since Jake.
I think the Bears are close for mine. I don't remember. That's just how the games fell.
I don't remember what record you had. I think you had 7 and 10 or 8 and 9. I know a couple of y'all weren't the highest on the Bears this year, like y'all were last year. So Luke, no man. So Luke, you only have you have 2 new playoff teams. You have the Bengals and you have the Jets. The NFC is the same. It's just different order. So just 2 new playoff teams for yourself.
It might be Jameis Winston at quarterback, not Mr. Masai. Just saying. Because Flacco did it for him last year.
Yeah, he did. Well, let's move on to Allen's list. I just pulled his up. He's got the Bengals as the 1 seed in the AFC. So that means obviously they're the North winners, followed by the Texans.
Fanboy.
He is a Joe Burrow fanboy. He likes the culture change, what he called it when he came in Cincinnati. Now, Tony, we have to call everyone out, man, here. And then he is bullish on the Bills. I mean, I'm bullish on the Bills. I thought he's a little more bullish. He's got the Bills as 3 seed. Remember, he's got Josh Allen as MVP. So
Kansas City is the 4.
Yeah, he's got Kansas City as the 4. Remember, well, they were the 3 last year, but I feel like they're better this year. But that's Allen right there.
And T-Law making it.
Jacksonville, he's got Duval County returning back to the playoffs after last year. The Ravens as a 5 or a 6 seed. I'm sorry. The Browns as a 7 seed. So he's got 3 AFC North teams too, Luke.
I gotta ask, did he just throw darts at the board on this one or what?
I don't know. Maybe he's eating too much sand out where he's at. You know what I mean?
Oh, what is this guy?
That NFC side too.
Well, let's speak in the NFC. He's got the Detroit Lions as the 1 seed. I don't think anyone's too upset about that one, but then it's the rest of the list. So he's got the Cowboys as a 2, the Rams winning the West as a 3, the Falcons as a 4. I mean, people like you said, Luke, you had the Bucks, but you wouldn't be surprised if Atlanta won. The Packers as a 5, the Niners as a 6, and the Eagles as a 7. So
I'm surprised you didn't put the Patriots on here. I'm going to be honest.
No, I think he's a little more. I mean, he's not that crazy.
There's so much about this doesn't make sense.
Tony, and I will say, no Fins. I was close to having the Fins whenever you see my list, but I have them still in. But we'll get to that. But that's Allen's list.
Tony, I'm going to be honest. I think Allen's looking at this from where he's at, and I think he's not putting credit on his picks. You know what I mean?
Tony, I think he's the only one with Miami not in the playoffs out of the 6 of us. And this is Chris's list right here. He's got the Kansas City Chiefs back as the home team. The Ravens as a 2 seed. Yes, Luke. He's got Ravens over the Bengals. He's got the Texans as a 3. The Dolphins finally winning the AFC East as a 4. The Cincinnati Bengals as a 5, which is led by Joe Burrow. The New York Jets as the 6, and the Cleveland Browns as the 7. So once again, 3 AFC North teams for you 3 so far to start. 3 AFC North teams.
Looks like Chris copied mine.
Just a little different ordering.
Slightly. Same teams besides the Falcons. Only different team.
And in the NFC, he's got the Niners as the 1, repeating as last year. The Detroit Lions as a 2. The Cowboys as a 3. The Falcons as a 4. The Packers as a 5. The Eagles as a 6. The Rams as a 7. So the only thing he has different really for the NFC is the Falcons replace the Bucks. That's honestly what he has. And then a little bit of rearranging on the ordering. So let's talk.
Solid. That looks good.
All right, so this is my list right here. I said it all. I said it all off season. I have the Houston Texans as the 1 seed. I'm believing the regular season hype for Houston, led by C.J. Stroud. I have the Kansas City Chiefs. By the way, Texans at 13-4, Chiefs at 13-4. The Texans have a tiebreaker, so Chiefs at 3. Joe Burrow and the Bengals as the 3. The New York Jets, led by Aaron Rodgers, as a 4. The Baltimore Ravens, Luke. I'm a little questionable on the defense at some of these games because it's going to be a new defensive scheme, kind of new defensive players. Not saying you're a bad team, scheme. Your offense. New coordinator though. New coordinator, new players too. Like you lost some guys. You did replace some guys. I'm not upset with who you guys replaced them with, but younger team on the defense side. So I want to see it. The Ravens is like 5 though. The Bills, like I said, I'm a little bullish on it. Tony, I have you guys tied. I have you guys both the same record. It's just tiebreaker purposes. The Bills got it. You're both at 10-7.
Tony, let me go ahead and hit on this, man. I don't think anything Green Bay can do this year would surprise a lot of people. I think last year was a surprise, and I think this year is kind of the expectation of, hey, you guys did it last year. Now is the time to repeat, put it together. You guys can only be better from here. I think they were the biggest shock of a team last year.
Last year. And the Rams. The Rams weren't supposed to be that good neither. That they had the defense.
But they had it in them. You knew they had it in them. Nobody saw the Packers above 4 wins last year that I know.
I had the Packers out at 5. I think it was like 5 or 6.
Yeah, it was going to be a bad year for them.
It's not being disrespectful. It's just that I believe. So the reason why, like, you guys keep saying, like, especially Jake, he's high on, like, saying that the Bills defense lost all these guys, but a lot of those guys they lost last year were already hurt most of the season last year.
They were already lost.
Yeah, so they were already gone, and the defense was top 10 already. Milano's gone again, but once again, he got hurt in week 5. So I'm not that upset about it, and I like the weapons, honestly. I like Keon Coleman. I like Kincaid. I like Knox together as a duo, and I do like James Cook. He got way better when Joe Brady took over, so that's the way I have it. In the NFC, the road goes to Detroit. Like I've been saying, the Niners stay at the 2 seed at 12-5. The Eagles are going to be 12-5. The Falcons 12-5. The Bears 12-5. The Rams at 11-6, and the Packers at 9-8. The three-way tie, though, I had Seattle and Tampa at 9-8, but the Packers just get the tiebreaker over Tampa and Seattle. So it's going to be a race for that last wild card spot. So that's the way my cards unfolded. And since Jake, you're talking shit, here comes yours, right? Oh, sorry, you're gonna go last. Doc, you're up. You can lead off now for your own teams.
I realized I fucked up on this one. I forgot. Yeah, I forgot the that Mr. Massage was coming back. That's going to be my one that I wish I could take back on this one. But Casey, I got is the obvious favorite in the AFC. I mean, that's just every year. That's how we see that. If I'm going to tweak this a little bit, I'm going to put the Browns. I'll just put the Browns at number 8 and move everybody else up, or at number 6 move everybody else up. Sorry, 7 move everybody else up. I think the second seed is going to be a toss-up between the Jets and the Jets and the Texans.
Well, the Bengals would be a 4, Jets would be the 2, Texans would be the 3 if you had to reorder it, and then the Browns go to 7.
If I had to reorder, I'm going KC, Houston, Buffalo, New York Jets, Cincinnati, Miami, Cleveland.
Yeah, Tony, he's got no Ravens, but he's got Lamar in fantasy. So
Ravens hater, so it makes sense.
Hey, even I had
honestly, I looked at the matchups. I looked at the moves in the offseason. I'm not impressed with the Ravens this year. I think they've got a couple absolute studs on defense. Running back, I mean, Derrick Henry didn't really ball out last year. We'll see what he can do this year. He's not going to get all touches because you got, RB1 and Lamar Jackson. Lamar, run and contain. We saw what you do, what happens when you make Lamar play as a quarterback. So, they still don't have a wide receiver one, a true wide receiver one in Baltimore. I got to see something from Zay Flowers. I got to see him step up this year. OBJ's gone. You're not forcing stuff to him. Mark Andrews is still the wide receiver one. And this team is so backwards. Your tight end is wide receiver one. Your quarterback is running back one.
Kansas City's wide receiver one is Travis Kelce. So, yeah.
We're going to see this year. We're going to see this year with old runaway Rice and Xavier Worthy. We're going to see what happens. But no, I agree. It's the same thing. But the only difference is you have talent in the quarterback as a quarterback in Kansas City. So, I mean, that guy could throw to the hot dog vendor in the 300 level and still make him into a star. So it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean? The Jets is all going to depend on injuries and how well they stay healthy. Houston, everybody's looking for CJ to repeat. They've only added, in my opinion, to that team. Buffalo, I think there's a lot of potential in Buffalo with the offense. We got to see if they can come together. And then the missing piece in the defense. But like Mark said, I mean, they've been gone. You know what I mean? They were still a top-tier defense last year. So
I think Sean McDermott is a good defensive play caller in the regular season, and then they lose to either Joe Burrow or Mahomes in the playoffs. That's just the way it typically works.
Yeah. And then shooting over to the NFC, honestly,
1 seed, it can be San Francisco or Philadelphia. They're both going to choke late in the season like they always do. I think San Fran's going to go to the Super Bowl, and I think that they're going to choke hard. Detroit, 1, 2, and 3 are all. It's going to be a very close battle between 1, 2, and 3. I got Tampa Bay in the 4. I think that they're going to take the South easily. Dallas coming in as a second from the East. Green Bay, and then Chicago.
Luke, we're best friends for this year. Hope the Ravens do good. I actually hope the Ravens do good now.
Yeah,
I know you're a Baker guy, so you want. Thank you.
I do like Baker.
So this is Jake's squad. He's got the 1 seed, the Jets. He's buying Aaron Rodgers. He's drinking that Aaron Rodgers Kool-Aid. Remember because he had Jim Harbaugh, Luke, as his coach of the year, so he had to put him in there. It's only to get coach of the year to be in the playoffs. The Texans is a 2 seed. The Chiefs is a 3 seed. Your Ravens is a 4 seed. The Chargers a 5 seed, led by Jim Harbaugh. And then, Tony, I think he's on that good stuff, man. McDonald's is giving him that good stuff, Miami's a 6. The Bengals is a 7. And he hates Joe Burrow, and he's got him in the playoffs. So there's a lot of stuff that's asked backwards. And then, of course, his
McDonald's
Niners
needs to do some more drug testing, in my opinion.
You didn't get forced to put them in, Jake. You put Jim Harbaugh as your coach of the year. So to be coach of the year for the Chargers, you have to be in the playoffs. You can't just be a 6-win team and be like, all right, I'm coach of the year. I got us fucking 4 or 5 more wins than last year. But the Cowboys is a 2 seed, and he hates the Dallas Cowboys. The Packers is a 3 seed. The Falcons is a 4 seed. The Lions is a 5. The Eagles is a 6. And then, Doc, your Bears is a 7. So I think I actually have the Bears in the highest spot out of all of us, out of 6 of us. I have the Bears as a 5.
Yeah, I had the Bears squeaking in.
Let's move on. Luke, this was your wild card. Oh, shoot.
No shit.
Let me. I didn't realize it was going to be right on it.
Jesus, Mark.
That's my B. That's my.
A little bit.
That's my B. My B.
Oh,
there we go. So Luke, this is your wild card round.
Yep. That looks like it. So the Bengals are going to go back to Kansas City, and I think Mahomes gets the best of them here. Miami's offense can be too much for Deshaun Watson or Jameis Winston. And I think CJ Stroud, gets another playoff win under his belt. And obviously, the NFC side kind of speaks for itself. I think those are just the best teams in the NFC. So they all get wins. So Green Bay, San Fran, and the Lions. Lions taking it. The only road team take a win.
Yeah, I noticed that, man.
Only road team to get a win.
And they beat them last year in the wild card round. I'm sorry, the divisional round. It was in Detroit, so rematch of that. This is Allen's takes. Oh, I don't know why I kept his purple, but whatever. I tried doing the color code for like all teams, so he's supposed to be blue actually. So he's got the Texans beating the Browns. Hey, that'd be a Deshaun Watson, Cleveland, Houston Texans kind of like history right there. And the Bills beating the Ravens in the 3-6 matchup, and then the Chiefs beating the Jaguars. So Trevor Lawrence's only playoff losses in his career would be at the Kansas City Chiefs. On the NFC side, he's got the 2 seed Cowboys beating the 7 seed Eagles. The 6 seed Niners going to LA, and of course Kyle Shanahan doing what Kyle Shanahan does and beating the Rams as a 6 seed. And then he's got the 5 seed Packers going into Atlanta, beating the Falcons. So he's got 2 road teams winning their first round, boys. He's got the Ravens getting a playoff win. He's got Lamar beating Deshaun or whoever the quarterback is at the time. He's got another Texans-Jets matchup, just time being 3-6, Luke. He's got the Texans beating Aaron Rodgers. I think that'd be a fun matchup, too, A-Rod versus C.J. Stroud, honestly. He's got the Bengals, of course, going to Miami Dolphins and winning. So, Tony, he does not have your Dolphins getting a playoff win. And then in the NFC, he's got the Lions in a rematch of last year's wild card round, beating the Rams. The Cowboys, like Allen, beating the Eagles. And then, like him, he's got the Packers beating the Falcons in the 4-5 matchup. So Allen and Jake are two road wins. And then here's mine. I have the Chiefs in a rematch of last year's wild card round. I have I'll explain it. I have the Chiefs beating the Dolphins. I don't think that's a question at all. I have Joe Burrow beating Josh Allen in a rematch of 2 years ago in the divisional round. The Bengals in the jungle is going to be a ruckus crowd. And then I have Luke. I think this is going to be probably the best matchup of the wild card round. It would be Lamar Jackson versus Aaron Rodgers, a multiple-time MVP, two multiple-time MVPs. Last year's MVP, I think Rodgers got 4, if I'm not mistaken. I think that the Jets would. No, he's got 4. He's got 4, I think. I think this is going to be a good game. I think the home team, whoever the home team would be, wins it. If it's in Baltimore, I'm going Baltimore. If it's in New York, because I think the MetLife crowd is going to be crazy. They haven't seen a home playoff game for the Jets in fucking God knows how long. So it's going to be an environment there. The Jets defense is really good. I don't think Lamar's going to have a horrible game. I think it's actually going to be a good game for Lamar, but I think that Aaron Rodgers is just going to do a little bit more than Lamar. It's no disrespect towards Lamar. It's just I think that he's going to have a better game. I have the Niners in the 2-7 matchup over the Packers. I have the Rams going into Philly and getting Nick Sirianni fired. This is the game that gets the coach fired for the Eagles. The Matthew Stafford and the Rams go into cold Philadelphia, that terrible city, and they win this game. And then I have Doc, our 2 teams playing in the wild card. I believe Kirk Cousins gets 1 playoff win at least.
Shocker. I
even would have had if the Bears. Because I almost had the Rams as a 5. Even if the Bears was a 6, I had the Bears winning that game. I have the Rams or the Bears beating the Eagles, but I have Kirk Cousins at least getting 1 playoff win because it has to be a playoff win or it's not a successful season. You have to have at least 1 playoff win, and it's good. It's good. It's a good start for Caleb Williams.
So you're just default that it's going to be a successful season for Kirk Cousins, so he has to get one playoff win by default.
It's a good start for him in his career with Atlanta, hopefully for 3 years. It builds on something. But I think that it's a good start for Caleb Williams in his career too. Gets to the playoffs. I think it's going to be a good game in Atlanta, in a dome, no bad weather. So I have a close game there, but I have the Falcons squeaking by. And Doc, you're up.
I mean, I obviously have screwed. You know what? The Browns are going to be good. The defense is going to carry him. Okay, Nick Chubb's going to come back and go off. He's on an incentive-based contract. Jets going to take down the Bengals at home. Buffalo, I think, is gonna edge one out on the road. I think when the season comes to a close, this team's going to come together. They're going to be a well-oiled machine. San Francisco over the Bears, no explanation needed. Detroit over the Packers because fuck the Packers. And I see the Cowboys taking the Bucks in week 1 on the road one, or in the first round of playoffs on the road one.
Tony, the Raiders don't have a home game October 12th because that's college football. That's like the biggest college football day of the season. I don't think that. Yeah, I don't think the Raiders have a home game on Saturday, October 12th.
Saturday.
Let's move on to Jake's wild card. He's got the Texans over the Bengals, the Chiefs over the Dolphins, the Ravens over the Chargers. So Luke, he does have your Ravens getting a playoff win. A little hardball matchup. This time not in the Super Bowl because they're in the AFC. This time in the wild card.
They'll have one during the season too.
Yep, Monday night. And then
that's how the Ravens get a win. Got to play the Chargers.
He's got Dak getting a playoff win over the Bears in Dallas. He's got the Packers over the Eagles. Rematch of this actually Friday night in Brazil. And then the Lions, like you, Luke, going to Tampa Bay and getting a win. So let's move on to the divisional round here, Luke. Only 4 games now.
Yeah, rematch of last year's divisional round, pretty much. So I think same results for the AFC side and the NFC side. You got the Lions beating the Eagles. I don't think the Eagles really. I just don't trust Hurts. I got San Francisco dropping a game to Green Bay. I think Green Bay gets the best of them this year at Green Bay. So I like it.
Sorry about that warning, Tony. I don't know how you got it. I mean, I don't think it was a bad. It's not bullying in my opinion, but unless it's just something
what was
see.
The comment?
Well, I mean, he says, "You know what I meant, bitch." He must have something else that we can't read. I can't see the other comment that he probably did, but Allen's divisional round real quick. He's got the Bengals over the Chiefs, so a rematch of 2021-2022 AFC Championship. He's got Joe Burrow getting it. He's got Josh Allen beating the Texans, so he's got Burrow versus Allen in the AFC title game. Then he's got the Lions over the Niners and the Cowboys over the Packers, so he's got Lions, Dallas in the NFC Championship game. Chris's divisional round, he's got both road teams winning here. He's got the Bengals over the Chiefs, just like Allen, and he's got the Texans avenging last year's divisional round loss to the Ravens. So he's got Burrow versus C.J. Stroud in the AFC Championship. And he's got the Niners beating the Packers like last year. And then he's got the Lions over the Cowboys. So he's got a rematch of last year, this time once again in San Francisco. My side, I have the Jets. I think, and this is the only reason why I have the Texans losing this game is because Texans are going to sit their starters week 18. They're already going to have the 1 seed wrapped up. They're going to lose week 18 because they're going to sit everyone, and then they have that bye week, right? So that's 2 weeks essentially of no starters playing. The Jets have momentum, and they have rhythm. So that's consistency right there. So I have the Jets solely on that basis going into Houston and winning the game. It's a good wake-up call, though, for the Texans. Next year, hopefully, they play a little harder at the end of the season. Maybe play the Stars a half or something like that. Then I have the Chiefs winning that rivalry game there with the Bengals. I have the Chiefs over the Bengals, so sets up for Mahomes versus Rodgers. And then I have the Lions beating the Rams, and I have the Niners beating the Falcons. I think both those games are going to be close. I think that Kirk Cousins will play tough against the Niners, but being in San Francisco, it's going to be too ruckus there. I think the Niners are just simply a better team as well. I don't think we're ready to get to the NFC Championship yet, but I wouldn't be shocked if we play them tough. But I have the Lions also beating the Rams. So, Doc, set up for yourself.
Yeah, Buffalo fails. I think I have Buffalo beating KC in the regular season because that's what they do and drop them in the playoffs because that's just typical Buffalo fashion. I'm gonna flop that. I think Mark, you got my pick wrong. I think you misput what I sent you. I'm gonna take the Jets over the Browns in that one, and
sounds like
Eagles over the Cowboys. Eagles over the Cowboys because the Cowboys are gonna cowboy in the playoffs, and then Niners over the Lions because Dan Campbell is gonna make a terrible 4th down call. It's gonna cost him the game.
Sounds like you changed your Jets pick on the fly.
No, I think you got it wrong. I got it right here. You definitely got it wrong.
Do I? Because I'm pretty sure I have the.
We'll talk about it offline. I'm pretty sure you're wrong. We'll talk about it offline.
If we're doing that, that means you're wrong. So Jake's side, he's got the New York Jets, Luke, beating the Ravens this time in the division round, not the wild card round. Shout out to you, Cam. We're going to talk a little college ball in a little bit, Cam. We're doing our predictions right now. And then Jake also has the Kansas City Chiefs going to Houston and beating the Texans. So he's got the Chiefs back in the conference championship round. I think Luke, I don't think you had the Chiefs back there, did you? Or no, you did.
Where? Yeah, I did.
So we all have Mahomes getting to a 7th straight conference championship game. Oh, sorry. Chris doesn't. Chris does not. And then he's got the Niners over the Lions. And somehow Jake's got the Cowboys over the Packers. I don't think he realizes that the Packers own the Dallas Cowboys. So I don't get how all of a sudden now he's sucking Dak's little dick. And he's on the Cowboy train when he hates them all this time. And the Packers and Jordan Love and Aaron Rodgers, they've owned the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs. I just don't get
it. What does Aaron Rodgers have anything to do with this?
I'm saying it's the last since the Aaron Rodgers era, they've owned Dallas in the playoffs. And
in the one game they played?
They've played Dallas multiple times in the playoffs. They played them in Lambeau. They played them in Dallas.
You said, are you talking the start of the Rodgers? Because it sounded like you said since Rodgers, like since he departed.
No, since Rodgers.
You're talking since
okay.
Since he was, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. No, then you're right. You're right.
And he knows that. I don't know why he's got Dallas there, but hopefully he gets on a little bit. He can explain himself there.
They brought Zeke back, dude.
Yeah, that's what it is. He's not even the starter. So Rico is.
You just need him on that Thanksgiving game with the Salvation Army bucket. That's all you need.
All right, Luke, here's your conference championship games.
Yeah, Ravens revenge game. So they beat Kansas City at home this year. Then I got the Lions, the dream team of the season, making the Super Bowl, beating out Green Bay.
Luke also needs a drug test.
I think Luke chose his heart. He went with that heart right there. I mean, it's clear as day. He's wearing it on his hoodie right now.
Yeah. So I didn't pick him last year to make it that far. So I mean, I'm going to pick him this year all the way. It is the 12th year since the Ravens last Super Bowl. So every 12 years, Ravens Super Bowl. Next one be in New Orleans and playing for the Jacoby Jones. Pretty much one of the guys that helped win the Super Bowl.
He's a key member.
Yep, key member.
Shout out to you too, Greg. Shout out to you, Greg. Yeah, Doc's a Bears fan too, Greg. He's from Illinois like you. So.
Damn right, Greg. Bear down, baby.
But no, Luke, you're right. You had the Ravens in the AFC Championship last year, but you had them losing to the Jacksonville Jaguars, who were your Super Bowl champions last year.
What a mistake.
I don't know where that one came from. Here's Allen's conference title game. He's got the Bengals over the Bills, and he's got the Lions over the Cowboys. So he's got Burrow versus Goff in New Orleans when it's all said and done. So
These are not even fun games to watch.
Alan, what are you doing, Alan?
And then here's Chris's. He's got the same. He's a road guy these last 2 rounds. He's got the Bengals over the Texans. He's got the Lions over the Niners. He's once again. He's just like Allen. He's got Bengals. He's got Bengals Lions just like Allen in the Super Bowl. So we have 2 guys that have the same matchup. Now, do they have the same winner? We'll find that out very, very shortly. I have what I was hoping was going to be last year.
Wow, I am shocked by your selections.
I have the Chiefs over the Jets. I think Mahomes and the squad, they get back to their 3rd straight Super Bowl. They get to their 5th Super Bowl in 7 years under Mahomes. I mean, it's a great dynasty, obviously. We've been talking about it for many, many years. We'll talk about them for many, many years to come. I never in my life thought I'd ever hear myself say, first off, the Detroit Lions are in a conference championship. Did it last year, so I guess I can cross that off my bucket list. But I thought never in my lifetime that I would say the Detroit Lions are making a Super Bowl. I mean, I've always said teams eventually are going to get there, but you say that because you think teams will just eventually get better. But I never believed like teams like Cleveland and Detroit would do it. And here I am, Motor City, Dan Campbell, rallying the boys in Detroit. They learned from last year's 17-point blowing lead against the Niners. A good game against the Niners. Jared Goff, Sam Laporta, Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Aiden Hutchinson, DJ Reader, Brian Branch. This team is hungry. This team is ready to go. I think the Niners fall just short. And I have the Lions Chiefs in New Orleans. And Luke, I know you said that what boring matchups for the Bengals Lions. I don't think Lions Chiefs would be a boring matchup in any way whatsoever. Storyline, too.
That would be pretty good. Bengals are always a boring matchup.
You'd be a big Lions fan if the Bengals played the Lions, obviously. You'd be rocking that blue and silver.
I would bet so much money on the Lions.
Doc, yours is on the screen right now.
Ooh.
Yeah, the Browns going way too far. So obvious that KC is going to win that game. I think this is the year. I told you the Eagles over the Niners.
Yeah, Doc, you did. Yeah.
Did you get my shit while I was sober? Or?
I don't know. I mean, I asked you guys
Doc
5
might be
days.
the one that needs the drug test.
Doc does or me?
No, Doc. He might be the one.
No, I'm just drunk all the
Right.
time. This ain't a drug thing. I got.
Oh no. I everything else was right, Doc. I'm sorry. The star is on the wrong team. You had Niners Chiefs. My bad. You did have.
I was going to say because I was pretty sure I had a Niners KC rematch.
No, you're right. That was my fault. But you did have the.
This is how you know. This is how you know all the other shit I said earlier. There's a pattern.
Oh, let's see. But you did have the fucking Browns there, so that's correct.
I don't know what the fuck I was thinking, dude. I mean, that offense is good except for Deshaun Watson, so we'll see if he can finally get his shit back together and get off the massage table. But yeah, I think that San Francisco goes back. I think that this is, Philly going to do Philly things. They're going to blow it late. I think San Francisco. This team is, Greenlaw doesn't get hurt late in the playoff game. I think it's a different outcome last year. So I think San Francisco's coming back, and I think that they're going to put up a tough foot against KC in the Super Bowl.
Well, we'll talk about that one in a second, Doc. And then Jake's got same thing as I do, but the Jets are the home team. Obviously, I had the Chiefs as a home team. He's got Chiefs over Jets. He's got Niners over Cowboys. So Dallas usually blows it against fucking San Francisco and Green Bay. So not sure why he didn't have him losing to Green Bay the round before, but he's got his team in the Super Bowl. So just a spoiler, we have 6 guys on the show. 2 of them have their own team in the Super Bowl. Chris has got his little fanboy, Joe Burrow. So 3 of them chose with their hearts. Like, yeah, I become a closet Lions fan because I like the storyline. But, Doc, you don't have the Bears anywhere close to it. You have a wild card exit. So just saying, these guys are picking with their hearts out.
That's strictly based on Caleb being a rookie quarterback. He'd come out and ball. I don't think he's going to. I don't think a rookie quarterback's never gone to a Super Bowl, so I don't think it's going to happen this year. But the complete team is there. But I think next year, if this team comes back, this is definitely a team that can make the run if Caleb develops and becomes the quarterback that everybody thinks he's going to be, that I don't see him being. But I hope I'm wrong. And if he turns into that quarter, I mean, this is definitely a team that can do it.
And that's why I said, like, when you guys, like, that's why I had you guys play us when y'all had play us. And I said it's a good learning spot for Caleb. You fall short in the wild card, you have a good season, 12-5, first round exit, whatever. But like, you learn from that, you grow. So Luke, though, here is the Super Bowl. You are the first one up.
Yep.
Also, tell me your MVP too. I like to hear that MVP.
Boy, nobody saw this one coming.
Yeah, the
Crazy
MVP is
matchup,
Lamar
though.
Jackson. Yeah, Lamar Jackson gets his MVP. So yeah, I think this will be a good matchup. Eminem will probably be there, so that's cool. But other than that, I think the
That's
Ravens-
cool.
But
Shout out to
I
you,
think,
Marshall Mathers.
Yeah. The Ravens are going to do the same thing they did to the Lions last season. That's just beat the piss out of them. So they do it again in the Super Bowl in front of everybody.
All right. And then Allen has the Bengals over the Lions. I'm assuming Joe Burrow would be his MVP when it's all said and done. So Allen's got Bengals over the Detroit Lions. Chris is in agreement. He's got the Cincinnati Bengals over the Detroit Lions in the Super Bowl. And I have, for the first time in their existence, I have the Detroit Lions getting a Super Bowl win as they beat Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. They stop the three-peat. No team will do it. They get close. Detroit Lions get their first Super Bowl in the franchise history.
Looks like
and Jared Goff. And I will have Jared Goff as MVP because it's typically a quarterback.
Yeah,
award.
you're low key a bigger Lions fan now than you are.
I mean, actually, no. I don't mind the winner. If the Chiefs win, I'm happy because I've said it since last year. I would love for the Chiefs to three-peat because Tom Brady never did it. The Patriots never did it with Tom Brady, and that solidifies my opinion that Mahomes is already the GOAT. If three-peats that no one else has ever done, he's already the GOAT. I'm not going to sit here and argue with Allen anymore. If he makes an argument of the GOAT conversation, I won't even argue. I won't entertain it. I'll leave it alone. I am okay with whoever wins this game. This is a dream matchup for me because I am in a win-win scenario. I could care less who wins the game. I want the Chiefs to win for the three-peat. I want the Lions to win for the storyline, and it'd be good for the city of Detroit. They probably burn the fucking city to the ground from all the partying they're going to do. And I'm in heaven, whoever wins this game, honestly. And then Doc. So, yeah, you're right. I had the Super Bowl matchup right. I just put the star on the wrong one. So,
yeah, no, that's why when I said that, I started going into the Eagles, and I was like, wait a minute. I do not remember putting the Eagles in the Super Bowl, especially because I hate Philly and all their fans. But, no, I think that this is going to be a good game. But I think, Mahomes is going to come out and do what he does in the Super Bowl, and that's just win. That's what he does in the playoffs. I think that this is the three-peat. I think he's going to come out, just absolutely light it up. And I'm expecting a big season from Xavier Worthy. I think he's going to go off this year. I think he's going to emerge as the new number one for Kansas City, especially because Rashee Rice, I think, is eventually going to get a suspension somewhere in the season.
next year.
We'll see. We'll see. I mean, when it closes out, what kind of message the NFL sending that, hey, we'll wait until next season when you can do it early before the season matters.
They always do. The only one that really happened to was pretty much Ray Rice. The other R. Rice. They typically Alvin Kamara waited a full year, and it was on camera that he beat the hell out of somebody. I mean, it was on camera.
Well, they're waiting on the judicial. I don't know when the judicial process ended on that.
These players will get it pushed.
Sometimes the teams act first, like the Ravens acted first.
Well, and I know that it also, the appeals process, like the MLB guys will appeal suspensions to get a few more days playing before the suspension goes through. So, I mean, I don't know the process for it, but either way, whether it goes or not, I mean, I think Xavier Worthy's going to come out and be a star on this team. And especially because Patrick Mahomes, doesn't matter who he throws to, he's going to make you a star. So the defense surprised the hell out of me last year. The offensive front five is still good. I mean, top to bottom, I honestly, Kansas City's defense last year, that was going to be shit. They surprised the hell out of me. I did not have them as a top-tier defense, and they were. San Francisco, I think, is going to be great. That's why I got them here. But I think when they mash it up, I mean, I think KC just edges it out. You might be talking to Harrison Butker, get back in the kitchen, field goal win.
Mahomes MVP, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
MVP.
so, Doc, Jake's got the same matchup as you, but he's got a different team winning it. He's got
Shocker.
his team. When it's all said and done, Jake has the 49ers winning the Super Bowl, and he has the Niners stopping that three-peat like I do, but I had the Lions. He's got the Niners. So just to recap, we had a Ravens pick, a Niners pick, a Chiefs pick, 2 Bengals, and a Detroit Lions. So we're kind of pretty much all over the place here.
Literally everybody picked their own team but me.
Okay, calm down. I'm okay with either team winning.
Everybody picked their own team.
And to be honest,
closet Lions fan over here.
I actually would like to see Lions Bills because I'm still a Josh Allen guy, but I would like to see also Mahomes win it if the Falcons don't, because like I said, it's the three-peat. Tom Brady's never done it, and he can never say he did do it. And if Mahomes does it, great for him. But I like to see the Lions win too. Like I was high on the Lions coming into the season last year before the season started. I was high on the Lions. I thought they were going to be a really good team.
You don't have to convince me how you're a closet Lions fan. We
fine.
already know. You admitted it. You admitted it on camera.
There's storylines that I like to see in the Detroit Lions.
I know. I'm not giving you shit. I'm just saying everybody picked their own team except for me.
Luke, like I said, the Bills were going to make your logos. They made your top 10. They made number 8 for you. So this is your top 10 in the draft when it's all said and done going to 2025. So
yeah,
the Giants.
Right. That's shitty teams right here.
You gave the Panthers some credit there. I like it. I respect it.
I gave the Panthers some wins.
I can see that because they got the 5th pick.
I think I gave them.
I had them. I think I had them 1-16 with another team. I think the Giants.
Jesus.
Honestly, Giants, Patriots, or Vikings are all looking.
Well, Luke's got
1-16.
I'm a little shocked, Luke. Though, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think the Raiders are gonna be top 10, but I'm a little shocked to get the Raiders at number 2. That was kind of the curveball.
The way the cards played. Once we added up the totals, that's where they ended up.
Honestly,
I thought it'd been between New York and New England for their 1 and 2, but
well, if that's the
that
case,
team is a dumpster fire, though.
And if this is the case, you might see 2 quarterbacks pick number 1 and 2. Which if one of them doesn't get Dak Prescott, you might see. And we're not high on the QB class, but those 2 teams are the 2 teams that might go quarterback.
Somebody's gonna make a mistake and draft Shador.
Carson
Giants are absolutely going quarterback after going wide receiver the last 2 years.
So, now we'll move on to Allen's top 10. He's agreeing with you, Luke. He's got the Giants at 1, the Saints at 2, though.
Damn.
The Patriots he's spelling Patriots at 3, Vikings at 4, Raiders at 5, Broncos at 6, Cardinals at 7, Steelers at 8, Panthers at 9, and Commanders at 10. So he's a little more respectful on the Panthers than pretty much all of us. Yeah, he's got the Saints though, number 2.
That one's tough.
That opens the door now. Would they go quarterback?
The Steelers is kind of surprising to me too, because that defense always finds a way, and especially knowing Mike Tomlin is a over 500 team.
Yeah,
look at him at 10.
This might be Mike Tomlin's last year. I think he might move on.
If the Saints are the second pick, do they? I understand they drafted Rattler in the 5th round. Do they entertain quarterback?
It's tough because I don't like anybody in the class.
I mean, neither do I. But
I don't think they do.
Maybe Beck, but I mean, if they're at 2, they're getting a whole new coaching staff. So I would not be surprised if they got a new coaching staff and went quarterback.
Or they trade down, maybe see if someone will bait on the other. I mean, we'll have to see how these QBs fall. This is Chris's top 10. He's got the Patriots at 1, Panthers at 2, Broncos 3, Giants 4, Titans at 5. I was a little shocked on that one. Raiders at 6, Vikings at 7. His own Saints, he's got him in the top 10, number 8. Commanders at 9, Cardinals at 10. So I was a little shocked at the Titans pick right there at 5. I think the Titans are going to be like a 7-8 win team. Luke, you're high on the Titans, so.
Yeah, I like the Titans this year. I think Love is going to do a little bit better than everybody expects him to. Yeah, he's got all the weapons around him now.
He does. I have the Patriots, the Giants, Cardinals, Chargers, Panthers, Broncos, Commanders, Raiders, Vikings, Saints. I'm not on the Chargers. That I know Jake's having the playoffs. I know you guys trust Jim. I think Doc's agrees with me. We'll talk his next. Just not on the Chargers. I think they're a year or two away from making splashes. I think competitive, kind of like how the Texans last year, where I said competitive losers. That's the Chargers. They're competitive losers. They're going to be in games, but they're going to lose. They're going to lose a lot of games.
That's what they were last year.
Yeah, Doc, here's yours.
Yeah, all of these teams, aside from the Rams, and the Titans are making strides, but the rest of them just need to start the fire, burn it down, and start over. I mean, Carolina, honestly, at number 1 and 2 is a toss-up between Carolina and the Giants. I think I just had one game as like a Giants upset for the year.
Well, they play each other, so it's probably the winner got the second pick.
I think that's what I had. I mean, I had Giants, Minnesota, New England all getting only 2 wins this season, which I think is still a stretch when you think about those 3 teams and 6 combined wins. You're like, whoa, no way that's going to happen. And then the Raiders not far behind with 3, Denver 3. I mean, the Chargers are going to get back there. The Chargers need to invest in the right areas. And it's a shame because when you pay a quarterback over $50 million and you have no targets for him to throw to, it's a tough situation out there. But Denver, I think, is going to start making moves on the up and up. I think Bo Nix is going to be their future guy. I don't think he's going to be elite by any means, but I think he's going to be a quarterback that they can, rely on for, at least the next 5 years. Saints, I mean, it all started going downhill with Michael Thomas and then with Alvin Kamara. So Derek Carr's only the next one to go. Chris Olave, shame for him. I'd like to see Kamara come back, have another monster year, get back to his old form. I know he's still getting a lot of targets out of the backfield receiving, but I'd like to see him incorporate him back as, one of the top players on the team. Titans, I don't know. I mean, we saw a flash of Will Levis last year. I hope he comes out a little bit stronger than he did last year. I think DeAndre Hopkins made him look good. I don't know
Ridley
that Will
and Boyd.
Huh?
He's got Ridley and Boyd this year in an offensive line upgrade.
That's why I mean I think it can happen.
He's got a bazooka too.
But I'm not sold on the Titans yet this year. And then the Rams, honestly, losing Aaron Donald is a huge, huge hit to the defense because it changes the way that the opposing offense plays. Jared Verse, I'd like to see him come off the line strong, but we'll see what he can do in a rookie campaign. And Stafford, I'm not high on Stafford. I don't care what you say. The guy started out super slow last year. He finished strong, but I got to see it all year long. You know what I mean? I know that finishing strong if he does in the playoffs, but guess what? He didn't. So I don't think the Rams are going to be worth the damn this year.
I want to say he lost to 1 point to a team that made the AFC Championship. I mean, it's 24-23. Not like they got blown out against the Lions.
Is that because of Stafford or is that because of the defense? I mean, I don't remember. I got to go back and look at the game, but
I mean, it was a good game on both sides.
I don't think he's a top tier quarterback in the league anymore.
Well, I guess we'll find out this year. And then Jake's top 10. He's got Panthers, Patriots, Vikings, Giants, Titans, 6 through 10, Broncos, Steelers, Jaguars, Saints, Cardinals. So I don't think he's a Trevor Lawrence fan whatsoever. And boys, that was our top. That was our prediction. So we're gonna find out obviously what's gonna happen this year. I mean, Luke, I don't think you're a crazy prediction like you had last year with the Jaguars. I know we're all a little high on the Jaguars, but you really bit the bullet on them last year. So,
yep. Hey, guess what? I'm not gonna make that mistake again.
And you had no team undefeated going into the Super Bowl neither. You had the 49ers last year undefeated.
Yep. Everybody had some losses this year. I spread them out.
Look at Luke learning lessons, dude.
Sprinkled some losses in there.
Well, Doc, you still put the Ravens in.
I had a hard time sprinkling some wins in for some teams, though.
I'm going to be honest. The Ravens almost became a top 10.
Holy shit.
No, I'm just kidding. They're actually my first team my first team not making it to the playoffs.
If Luke would have seen the Ravens in your top
they just have a very tough schedule.
If Luke would have seen the top 10 though, and the Ravens were
look, that
would have been.
I am not a Lamar Jackson fan, not a Ravens fan. That is obvious, but I'm not an idiot. All right, I'm not disrespectful.
Well, you think you're the only one that didn't have them in the playoffs.
That's fine. They got a tough schedule.
They do. They do. Well, boys, let's move on to some
whole AFC North does, but
I have splitting most of it. It's the out of division games. I have them splitting a lot of the division games. I actually have them winning in Pittsburgh and Pittsburgh winning in Baltimore.
Well, I will say this. I was going to save the stat for Luke later on. I would not be surprised if Pittsburgh, because this is Ravens, Lamar is 2-4 against the Steelers in his career. So I don't know what I mean. Every player has a team that they struggle against. That's his team. I mean,
that's 2 games a year.
That is.
And don't get me wrong. Like I said, I don't have them under 500. I had them 10-7.
I mean, it's deep AFC then. I mean, I had them 11-6, Luke. So.
Also, the Falcons 10-7.
I don't know if the NFC has that many teams that are 10 wins and more that don't make it. I don't think the NFC is that as deep. I think 9-win teams you'll get maybe.
Dude, you're talking my 1 through 10 capped out at 6 wins.
All right. Well, tomorrow we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna do our predictions. So we're gonna change it up compared to how we did last year. It's not just gonna be we come in and we just predict each game right off the bat. We're gonna try and talk about some of the storylines. Obviously, Ravens Chiefs are probably gonna be the very first storyline we talk about. Probably all the primetime games, honestly. We're going to talk about the rookie quarterbacks, new faces, new places, the return of the quarterbacks that are coming back, the new coaches, whatnot, the rookies in general. And then we'll make like a 10-minute segment. So everyone's already going to have pretty much, hopefully, written down on their own notepad scores so that it's already ready to go. We're not sitting here thinking about it.
I got them up in the noggin.
I would like it so I'm not sitting here writing it down, because after that I want to, especially when the season progresses.
You'll get it real time like everybody else, Mark.
No, because I already got Chris's. I already got Alan sending me his. I already have mine written down too. I want to have it already written down so that I'm not sitting here killing time while we're writing it down, and then
I can send it to you after the show.
Yeah, but there's no way of recapping it for me. If I'm not, I like to sit here and recap that shit.
Mark. Relax. I'm fucking with you.
So it doesn't take long. It's a 5-minute text, and then we're gonna talk a little NFL tomorrow. But let's move on, boys, to a little college football, and no better way to start the Georgia Bulldogs. Let me take off my hat because now we're in college mode, so I gotta flip the dome a little bit and go to the burnt orange. Still have the red shirt on, but let's move on to that. So Georgia Bulldogs. Does anyone stand a chance this year? Is Georgia that too? Are they that dominant, or no one stands a chance against the Georgia Bulldogs?
They have been every year. They had one playoff game in the last year. They've been that team. Everybody else, ESPN, everywhere else is saying, they're number one until somebody proves they're not, and that's the reality. And you know what?
I'm not going to take away from what Georgia did in that game against Clemson, okay? But I think this is evidenced by the fact that Clemson is overrated. I don't think Clemson is the team that everybody thought they were. Will Shipley was the best player on that team. He's gone. Klubnik, I was not impressed with Klubnik last year. I'm definitely not impressed with him this year.
Oh, they played.
I know, and don't get me wrong, they play one of the best defenses, if not the best defense in college football. But this Clemson team, like you said, Mark, Miami's got a better chance than Clemson this year, I think, hands down.
Where was Clemson's defense? Because that's what they're known for, right? And I get it. Georgia's good. Where the fuck was their defense at? Carson Beck, 8. Frazier, who, by the way, they were down their top 2 running backs, and Frazier fucking came out as a 3rd-string running back and fucking had 7.5 yards per carry and a touchdown. 11 for 83. That's solid. I mean, Beck sprinkled the ball around everyone. Luke. I mean, is this more about Clemson struggling and Dabo being Dabo and stuck in his ways, or is this just about Georgia, man? Just straight up, will Clemson bounce back, or is it just Georgia being Georgia?
I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, obviously Clemson I thought was always going to be overrated. I said last week that Georgia was just going to roll through Clemson, and they did. I mean, Georgia is the number one team. It's not a question. Yeah, not a question. Somebody's got to go in there and upset Georgia for them not to be number one at some point this season. And Georgia's schedule, they do play a tough schedule this year, so they have the opportunity to lose some games, but it's going to be an upset for them to lose any game this season.
I'll go back to Georgia then. So I mean, maybe Carson Beck. I mean, like I said, like because the Georgia receivers, I don't really know much about them. Like it's not like like the names that they've had, like Lad McConkey, Brock Bauer. So maybe Carson Beck. Maybe he is legit. Maybe I'm not. I mean, I'm not high on him yet because I want to see the season progress. But maybe he is the real deal. Maybe it's not so much the talent around. Like Stetson Bennett, I think Benson had way more talent than I thought than around him than Beck does.
Yeah, I think Beck had a pretty solid game too. I mean, going against what's supposed to be a good defense with Clemson, which kind of looked like they weren't that good of a defense, not that good of an offense either, really. But
I kind of
ACC football.
I kind of knew. I mean, I expected a little bit more from Clemson offensively. I kind of had a feeling their defense is going to get shredded. I saw more from them offensively. I know in our Pick'ems league, I had a little bit higher on the score. But that's because I thought that like Clemson might put up 14 or 17. But I mean, that embarrassment. I think Clemson got exposed. I'm going to have to see something pretty drastic from them coming out because at this point, I'm not even convinced they can beat Florida State.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm shocked that they stay in the top 25. They're number 25. I'm shocked that they. I mean, I get it. Like
I'm not. You. I mean, it was a big loss. It was a big loss, but it was the number one team.
Georgia. They moved them 11 spots down. Yeah.
Dude,
yeah, that's.
I don't give a shit. It's number one.
Honestly, I'm surprised it was that much considering losing number one because usually it's not that many spots to drop.
I am shocked. I don't give a fuck if it was number one or not. You lost by 31 points, and you're the 14th ranked team. I don't give a shit if it's number one. I could care less. You're a top 15 team. You're the Clemson Tigers led by Dabo Swinney, and you fucking lose 34-3 when the game was within a touchdown or field goal, whatever it was at the first half. And then Clemson comes out and kicks you in the teeth where nothing showed for the Clemson Tigers. Clemson or Georgia made the adjustments. And I'm sorry that Dabo is stuck in his fucking ways. I'm not blaming just a transfer portal and NIL on him. But this is a sign of things to come for the Clemson Tigers. They're one of the only 4 schools that did not have a transfer this year, which Luke shout out that they didn't transfer last year. And the other 3 schools were academy schools. They're not even allowed to use the transfer portal. That tells you something.
Yeah, they can't. Yeah, they can't.
So
I mean, I don't know Dabo's ways like that to know this is stuck in his ways or
he is.
Maybe he just felt good about his team. Honestly, I think that somebody in the football realm is viewing this team for more than what they are. We've talked about it before, Mark, going into the season. We talked about who, the potential is in the ACC. And I've said it before. Clemson is not the team that everybody thinks they are. I don't think they are. I'm going to have to see some serious turnaround to get, convinced otherwise. But what I've been saying, since the start of the preseason with and in camp with college football, this team is exactly who we thought they were.
I mean, Clemson or Dabo and his way. I think me and Luke have talked about with Chris. Dabo has been on record saying he does not want to pay players. He does not want to pay NIL. He does not want to use a transfer.
It won't work in this league. Look what happened to Saban.
Why do you think Saban? And Saban did do it. Saban did utilize the portal.
Yeah, he just didn't like other people doing it.
Because he knew it was a more even playing field. And Dabo was on the record saying, if we pay these players, I'm out. Why the fuck are you still in Clemson? Why? Why are you still there?
Because
you were on record.
Because they didn't pay him.
Like Shannon Sharp and them said, it's okay for you to take $12 million a year, but God forbid your players want some too. They want to eat a little bit. I mean, I don't know. I'm falling out on Dabo, and I was a big Dabo guy.
Shannon Sharp can say what he wants. I don't agree with NIL. And I'll never say otherwise.
I like NIL, but I don't like the way it's being used. It's not being used the right way. NIL is for the players to make fucking money on their own through social media, YouTube, commercials, and shit like that. Not these schools collectives paying players for nothing.
It's booster clubs paying people to come.
They own those companies. That's the problem.
Yeah, it's not the intent of what NIL's.
No, this is literally taking students that should be working on their athletics, trying to go pro, but also securing their future with a degree. Because if you come out and get RG3'd, you know what I mean? What are you going to fall back on? So get your school done while you're there. get your degree later in your career, like Shaq did. But I don't know. It's.
But even
You're
if
a
we don't
student
agree with
athlete,
it,
student first, and is glorifying in a way that's taken away from the foundation.
even if we don't agree with it, he's dying on a mountain. He's going to die on the hill that he's fighting on.
That's
He's
fine.
the only coach is fighting. I mean, these coaches don't necessarily agree.
Dude,
all the
let
time.
Clemson burn. I'm fine with that. As a Florida State fan, I'm fine with that. Let Clemson burn. Burn, baby, burn.
Yeah,
Keep that
I mean, let's move on to another ACC team. Are the Miami Hurricanes legit? I mean, 41-17, I get it's over the Florida Gators. They're not the Florida Gators they once were. But going into the Swamp where everyone projected to be a close game still, I don't give a shit. If, like the excuse last night in Discord was Florida's not ranked, blah, blah, blah. I get that. They're not ranked. They're not the Florida Gators 7-8 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever. But it's still in the Swamp at 3:30 p.m. Rivalry game. Miami went in there and wiped the floor with them.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it just doesn't mean more in the SEC. I mean, the SEC's little phrase it means more, but obviously not, because SEC had a tough weekend. Like they have their 3 dominant teams now, 4 dominant teams, and after that,
didn't they have like an 18? Didn't they have
second worst conference?
I'm pretty sure they only had Texas A&M and Florida were the only 2 teams that lost, right?
And LSU.
Oh, and LSU.
So out of 18 teams, went 15-3.
Yeah,
I don't think that's, and they had some dominance. I don't think that's.
Wait. We went 15-3, but the ACC had 3 losses: Virginia Tech, Clemson, and Florida State.
I said second worst.
And what was the Big Ten and AC? What was the Big 12 and Big 10?
Big 10 had 1 loss. Pac-12 had no losses.
I'm not counting the Pac-2.
Then
come on, that's
Big 12. Yeah, and Big 12 had 2 losses.
Who are y'all's 2 losses? West Virginia,
and was it TCU? I think it might have been TCU.
I mean, I would say that the Big 12 also played a lot closer games against trash teams too. Texas Tech they went like double overtime, whatever it was, overtime against some trash ass school. But it's the Big 12 though. I mean,
Oregon struggled against.
It's all about how good that
yeah. Oregon struggled too against that.
So it's not.
That's powerhouse.
Vandy held it together for the SEC.
I don't know. Listen, talking about Miami, I think Miami's a good team, and I think right now they're the front runners for the ACC because I think Clemson is shit. Florida State obviously is shit.
Houston, yeah.
I think Miami is the front runner for the ACC, but I mean, yes, going into the Swamp at 3:30 is a tough game, but it isn't like Miami's coming from far. It isn't like they can find that atmosphere to get ready. It isn't like they don't have humidity down in Miami. This is an environment they've been before. This isn't new to them. Okay, they didn't go into Ann Arbor. You know what I'm saying?
It's still new to them. They haven't been in Gainesville, and I mean the last time they played the Gators was 4 years ago or 5 years ago, and it was I believe in Miami. They haven't played the Gators in the Swamp in a long time.
All right,
and it's not just the fact that they just went in there and they beat on a bad team. Cam Ward looked amazing. This defense looked amazing.
Cam Ward.
You also are looking at arguably one of the first Florida teams that I've seen in my existence.
I mean, but the offense last year was still a solid team. It was the defense last year that struggled.
And boy, I want to know who. I want to know who's getting paid to write the narratives for these college football headlines, because boy, were they talking up Florida to start the season.
Luke called me upset. I'm upset too.
What was
I'm upset?
Yeah, they're talking high on the quarterback, and I'm looking back and I'm like, Anthony Richardson played here not too long ago, and he didn't have a good year.
I also said,
I mean, it's not the fact that, like I said, I mean, I think Miami's schedule is pretty fortunate this year. I mean, they play Virginia Tech and they play Florida State, which we thought maybe were going to be the 2 hardest games. Both those teams lost. Florida State's lost both games. Virginia Tech lost to Vanderbilt. I think Miami's set to potentially go undefeated. I mean, I know it's hard to say after week 1. Am I being a little bullish? Maybe. I had them at 11-1 before the season, and that was getting upset by Virginia Tech. And this Miami team, I think that they are legit. I like the defense. The receivers are solid. The running backs are solid. The offensive line is fucking filthy. The defense is nasty, and Cam Ward is playing with talent around him. He looked good at Washington State. The difference is Miami, they've only been missing a quarterback since fucking Dorsey back in the early 2000s. They haven't had a quarterback really since then. It's all been just everything else around them. So I think Miami is a sleeper to be a scary playoff team. Not maybe beat Georgia, but scary playoff team, I think. Can make a run.
I mean, they can with their tough schedule they got coming up. I mean, they got Florida A&M next, followed by Ball State, South Florida, Virginia Tech. We saw how well they balled out against Vanderbilt. They really held their own against Vanderbilt. Louisville and Florida State are
this is your This is your conference, though. Like this is the ACC. So, I mean,
and one of those teams that I named is my conference. So tap the brakes.
Yeah, but you have the rest of the ACC.
Florida A&M, Ball State, and South Florida is not my conference. But California, Louisville's back into the top 25 for the first. Well, no, they were in there last year, right?
They were in the ACC championship last year.
Yeah, until they lost to Florida State. But Florida State, I still think will be a game. I think that it's later on in the year. I think and it's all going to depend on how this team comes together. Are we gonna call it quits this season, or are we going to come together and build on the shortcomings that we've had? And don't get me wrong, this happens every year with Florida State. We started off last year slow against Boston College, but it's going to depend on how they do. Georgia Tech, Florida State, there's not a whole lot to talk about Florida State. It's been an embarrassment. Norvell's got to be better with recruiting. We cannot live in the transfer portal. You're talking about a guy that's coming to his third program, trying to learn another system, second round in the ACC. They got to do, and don't get me wrong, they're not doing terrible in the recruiting classes. I mean, they're top 15, top 20, just outside of 10 in these years. But we got to spread it. You know what I mean? We can't just get defensive studs. We got a couple of good quarterbacks last year and this upcoming year. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Brock Glenn and how he develops. I think that with Jordan Travis leaving, I think that we were just kind of in a spot where, Rodemaker left after seeing the absolute implosion that was Tate Rodemaker last year. Brock Glenn is going to be the future, I think, of this team. DJ is just a placeholder. We lost a lot of talent last year. We lost a lot of talent, went to the draft, so we gotta get back to where we were. It may take this season, but I don't think we're gonna have a losing record this year. I don't think we're going to the playoffs, but I don't think we're gonna have a losing record, and I think we're gonna come back next year pretty strong.
I will say though, when it comes to losing talent, Luke, I mean, you can touch on this one too. Good teams lose talent every year. Good teams keep going. They keep it flowing. That's the problem.
Look at Georgia every year.
Alabama.
Somehow they reload.
And most teams have a quarterback ready to go. And we thought we did until he came out late last season after the Travis injury and hightailed it out of Florida State as soon as he possibly could when the season ended. We got somebody in the transfer portal who you heard from the moment we got him. You heard me say I wasn't high on this guy.
So,
but Texas, you're working with what you got.
Texas lived in the transfer portal with all the names that we lost a lot of weapons, and we lived in the transfer portal. Our three biggest receivers now are all from the transfer portal this past portal. So, I mean, it can work. Your receivers had a lot of drops, obviously.
We had a big one. We had a big one last year from Michigan State.
Cam, shoot us up that trade, though. We would like to hear it. Right now we're talking a little college, though. But, I mean, I don't know, Luke. I think they're done. I don't know. I think they're going to lose the Irish this year. I think the Irish and Miami are going to give them fits. That's four right there.
I mean, the only thing Florida State's really playing for is to try to make a bowl game at this point. I mean, they're not going to make the playoffs, but they showed it on the screen. They have a 1% chance of making the playoffs, and that's them running the table. And with Florida State's schedule, I think they drop a couple more games this season. So I think it's going to be close to them making a bowl game. I think they get 6, 7, probably 8 wins tops at this point.
Because they still play Miami, Notre Dame, Clemson. That right there is. I mean, if you're 7, too. I mean, I don't think Norvell's job is safe. Obviously, just got paid, but
Yeah,
I mean,
Norvell's fine for a couple more seasons.
Miami's a tough game. We just saw what Clemson is worth, and Notre Dame's offense is nothing that I'm impressed by.
But y'all's excuse
but they went to College Station and beat College Station at night. Beat A
and your excuse for Clemson about how they're still ranked because they played number 1. I mean, y'all lost to Georgia Tech, get it, Ireland, and then you let Boston College come in with a backup quarterback that barely saw the field at UCF.
And that's why we're not in the top
starter.
25. I don't know what the point is you're trying to make, Mark.
But you're saying like Notre Dame's not they look impressive, whatever. But I mean, are you guys going to be able to score on their defense?
Did I say Florida State looked impressive?
No, but you shit on Notre Dame pretty much.
Because Notre Dame is shit.
So you're going to go into South Bend at night, and you're saying you have a shot.
We're going to see when the time comes.
When they do play defense, like
we're going to see when the time comes.
And I mean,
you got to pass for it to happen.
And that's why I have my doubts. But I mean, the Florida
ball.
State fan in me is still hoping that this team is going to fucking come together soon.
Well, I mean, you don't want to. Hey, soon's 2 weeks, so you better start with that with Memphis because it's either it's now or never. If you lose another one,
I mean, there's too much negative that's got to happen to win out. But
team too.
I'm not hopeful in the playoffs this year. I'm not saying they're making the playoffs. They just got to hold their own and come back next year strong.
And Cam, did you get Debo and Ridley or did you get Harrison? So it says Debo and Ridley for Marvin Harrison. I don't like the trade for whoever got Marvin Harrison. I think you keep Debo and Ridley, to be honest.
I do too.
Whoever got those two, I think, won the trade. But Luke and Doc, USC Trojans, they played good defense on Sunday night. LSU, they played good defense too. Both defenses were struggling last couple of years. USC for many years with Lincoln, but LSU looked pretty good. We'll talk about them maybe in a little bit, but were we impressed with the USC Trojans in Las Vegas this week?
I was impressed with their defense. Yeah, I mean, they're from what they had last year. I mean, it was Caleb Williams having to try to win games week to week last year, which was not the answer, obviously, because they ended up losing a bunch of games at the end of the season. But I mean, I think they were showing the stats like their whole D line put on 15 pounds apiece or something like that. So they got bigger on defense, a lot more experience on the defense, a lot of players coming back. And I mean, it looks like the USCLA defense coordinator is a good hire for USC
so far.
Their defense, they played well. I mean, on Nussmeier, he played a good game. Like I don't think it's his fault that LSU lost.
Lacey though, for receiver. That guy was a dog, man. He made some good catches.
Yeah, but he's undisciplined. I mean, he set up the next touchdown. He set up the touchdown for USC. That 15-yard penalty he got for pointing a fake gun at the DB's head. Set up the
can't do that
kick return. That was like the 80-yard kick return. Went down to like the 10-yard line, and then they punched in a couple plays after that. So I mean, yeah, he got a touchdown, but he also pretty much gave USC a touchdown too.
I was impressed with USC though. I know I'm not high on Lincoln Riley. I was impressed with
he's dotting it up.
That receiver had a fucking filthy catch too. Double coverage where he was getting sandwiched. That was a nice one-handed grab. No, I was impressed what I saw from USC. I think they're going in the Big Ten. No, I still don't. I still think it's Ohio State. I know Oregon struggled. I think Oregon will be fine, and we'll see what Michigan's going to be. But can USC be top 3 or 4 in the conference? Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, if that's what we're going to see from them going forward, I'm impressed with the USC Trojans.
Yeah, I think they definitely put themselves in that conversation now because I think a lot of people are sleeping on USC just based off of losing Caleb Williams and how atrocious that defense was last season.
Lost
so I think a lot of people were probably sleeping on them. Yeah, but I mean, they put the nation on watch now. Like they go out there and be an SEC team in prime time. I mean, it looks good for you.
What'd you think, Doc, of the USC Trojans this past Sunday night?
I gotta be honest. I mean, when we talk about the USC Trojans, this is one of the very few games that I did not watch this week. So I got nothing on this one.
Man, primetime game.
I know. I wanted to watch. I needed one night. I was with the family. We were doing shit all day, and then spending some time. So it is what it is.
Well, since you didn't watch it, we'll move on to Oregon and Michigan. Two teams. Well, Michigan had a slow start, and then they kind of kicked it into high gear in the fourth quarter and ran over Fresno State. But Oregon, they struggled against Idaho, only won 24-14. So should we be worried about the Michigan Wolverines and the Oregon Ducks?
No, I mean it's week one. I mean these teams are pretty much new teams. I mean Michigan lost the most players to the draft out of any team. New coaching staff for Michigan as well. So I mean it might take them a couple weeks to get going. I mean I don't think they've really fully decided on who they want as quarterback either for Michigan.
And I think they still got a stud in the backfield.
Davis Warren was the guy. Well, the guy that's on the cover of NCAA looked like trash. He didn't look good. The other running back looked good.
Yeah.
Oregon, I think it might be just some growing pains. You get new quarterback, new system. I mean, Dylan Gabriel played a good game. He went 41 for 49 passing. So not his fault they lost it. And that close of a game. I mean, defense got off, step up a little more against Idaho State.
I mean, they scored 14 points. Idaho scored 14. You have 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, the defense. I mean, the offense needs to kick it.
Yeah, I didn't watch this full game. I just saw some bits and pieces of it while I was on at the bar.
I don't know, man. I'm not too worried about Oregon yet. I mean, it's early, but it's still not a good look. I mean, I don't care if. I mean, I get it. Maybe if you're playing like how, like other schools are playing, like actually respectable programs, going against University of Idaho and Eugene, that's not an impressive game at all. It wasn't. It was close. The whole game was close. I mean, obviously they only won by 2
call for them.
What was that? Luke?
Hey, it's probably a wake up call for them. Oregon's been getting hyped up as by a lot of people saying they're going to win the championship. So I mean, this might be a wake up call. Like, hey, you still got to fucking work for this.
And Kim, I take back a little bit what I said.
Especially with Ayuk getting his deal.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a terrible move. My only concern is
I'm okay with the trade now.
I'm just worried about Marvin Harrison getting his with Kyler Murray. I don't know. Kyler Murray, I think when he came back last year, I think there were some impressive moments, but I mean, we know what we've seen from Kyler Murray the last few years. I mean, he's got to step it up. He's got to be a leader on this team.
No, I don't think it's bad. You have Terry McLaurin, you have Brandon Ayuk, and now you have Marvin Harrison. So no, it's not a bad. I'll take it back. It's not a bad trade, honestly. But Doc, you worry about these 2 Big Ten schools at the moment?
Oregon, no, because Oregon's style of offense. I mean, it's tough because they're coming to a new conference, but their running gun style offense, I think, could still dominate across the Big Ten. I have my concerns about Michigan, kind of because with the new coaching staff, I think that they're still trying to find their identity. And when you see a turnover like this, and I'm not talking just the coaching staff, but also J.J. McCarthy leaving, Blake Corum. I mean, top talent guys that played in the Big Ten. I think this is a team trying to find their identity and having some difficulty with it. So I don't know. This is a Michigan team that we saw struggle for so many years under Harbaugh and choke. I mean, I wouldn't say struggle, but really struggle because they didn't find the success that everybody thought they were worth year in and year out. So I think that this is kind of a huge step back this season and reverting to the old ways. And they don't have the people in place to elevate this team to the next level and maintain, the championship caliber team that they had. So I personally, and I know I texted to you, I think my headline for this is Michigan one and done, being last season.
Well, I mean, we're going to talk tomorrow about us. That's one of the storylines for college week 2. I mean, we're going to see that test for Michigan. They do play Texas. It is in the Big House. It's
they're
in Harbor. I mean,
yeah, GG's Michigan. Your season's over.
I'm going to be a little, just a little more neutral because it's still in Michigan. They still have a good defense. So Texas has to also play their game. They have to still be that high hitting offense that they are. So we'll talk about obviously that storyline, but Michigan does get that
crazy.
Test
It's a noon kick. Crazy.
Yeah,
it's a noon kickoff.
Fox took it. The big noon kickoff took it.
Because it's in Michigan. It's Fox.
And I think
it's Big Ten.
I agree with Luke. It's the dumbest thing in the world. That should be
prime time.
It should not be NC State and Tennessee. That Kirk Herbstreit and what's going to be Reese Davis because Fowler's not there this week. So if that's the game that they're calling, that should not be the game that Kirk Herbstreit and them are going to. It should be Texas Michigan. That's not to be biased at all. It's 3 versus 10. Plain and simple. That's what you need to know.
I agree, but so why does ESPN deserve the game but not Fox?
Because it should be the prime time game. It should be the game that everyone literally has eyes on at night. It should be the prime time, the main game at night. That's like the Chiefs. That's like the Chiefs and the Bengals playing at 1:00 because it's fucking Fox got it or CBS got it. That's the game you'd rather watch at night, where it's the only main game going on. Let's watch that one. Not when you have all
those games. Those games don't happen at 1:00 in the NFL.
They usually put Burrow and Mahomes at 4:15, if anything, or 4:25.
The Chiefs play 95% of their games at 4:15.
The thing is, it's like it's not like it's.
I know what you're saying. It's a primetime game. The problem is Fox doesn't have primetime 7:00.
Well,
and
they actually do.
Sometimes these games play early in the day. How many times have we seen the Ohio State Michigan game last year was middle of the day?
They're always noon.
We've seen Penn State. Exactly. That's a Big Ten thing. It's not a Fox thing. It's a Big Ten thing. It is what it is. Tune in, Davis. Tune in to Fox. Watch a game.
No shit. I'm gonna be. No shit.
What's his nuts? Jason Benetti will be on the call. He's a good announcer. I like Jason Benetti.
It won't be Jason Benetti. It'll be Joel Klatt and Gus Johnson. They call the big noon kickoff game. They call the big game. Yeah, they call the big game for Fox. And Jenny Taft will be on the sideline. That's the Fox crew.
You know about announcers way too much, dude.
They're the big noon kickoff. That's Gus Johnson, Joel Klatt. Joel Klatt's a Fox guy. But speaking of powerhouse, the powerhouses, they dominated. Anyone stand out more than the other? Ole Miss, Alabama, Texas. Anyone stand out a little more? I know some of these teams are playing.
Oh. It's kind of hard to tell. They're playing nobody schools, FCS schools, a lot of them. So they should be dominating. The big schools should be dominating.
Who played FCS school? I know Ole Miss did.
Ole Miss had something like 70 points, 76 points, didn't they?
Yeah. I guess Furman? Never even heard of Furman.
Well, I know because they usually play one of these SEC schools usually every year, but.
No, Ole Miss impressed me. I've been hearing a lot of buzz about them through the offseason as we prepare for this season. So it's nice to see them come out and give a good shellacking. Made a good 11-2 last year, so nothing but building off of last year. But when you look at the record, in the years prior, 8 wins in 22, 10-21 was good. But prior to that, Ole Miss has been kind of off the board for quite some time. So nice to see him come back into the picture. Nice to see somebody else maybe challenge the SEC. Same thing with Mizzou. Mizzou was a huge impress. I honestly, there was a lot I was impressed with. Tennessee even surprised me. I didn't think Tennessee was going to come out.
That QB looks good,
dude. I'm telling you. And again, these teams did not play top tier talents, but a lot of these teams did impress. Even against a shitty team, you got to put in the work. We saw Colorado couldn't do it. You know what I mean? And NDSU, don't get me wrong, is a good team, but they're a good FCS team. They're not a good Division I team. So
they're Division 1,
they
2.
Had the opportunity. They had a big opportunity to fucking win that game too. I lost my.
They did.
Well, let's talk about
that.
They
did, but just because you're a big team, you got to come out and you still have to perform. And the teams that did, and I'm talking. Alabama, Ole Miss, Texas, Georgia, Tennessee, Missouri, Kansas, Utah, Ohio State, all incredible games. Some of them got started a little bit later. Ohio State took them till about halfway through the third quarter to really get going. And it wasn't close by any means. It was like 24-3. It wasn't close by any means, but, they turned it on and kicked it into the next gear. But it was nice to see some wipeouts here in the first week.
Ohio State's thing is they have all – yeah, Louisville.
Ohio State usually starts out slow early.
Well, the Ohio State's issue is they're talented all around. The quarterback, Will Howard, has to be good. They have talent everywhere on defense and offense. It's just the quarterback, and the quarterback deliver. That's Ohio State.
That's the same problem they had last year.
Yeah, that's why McCord is in Syracuse.
Yeah. And honestly, and you look at this team last year, did the same thing against Indiana. It was a slow start against Indiana. This is just typical first week Ohio State. Start out slow in the first half, maybe a little bit into this, bleed into the second, and then turn it around. But
Luke,
I want to talk about who I was super impressed with. Coming out of week one is I just had his name earlier too.
This one,
Nebraska. Yes, sir. Nebraska with the number 2 QB recruit. They came out. Nice to see Nebraska finally becoming relevant again post Scott Frost era, and how he burned that program to the ground. Honestly, Nebraska impressed. This is a team that's been asleep for a long time, especially since they moved into the Big Ten, and they may be competitors here. And I think that this guy's going to help get some recruits in here to be competitors for the next couple of years.
I wouldn't say Scott Frost burned them to the ground. I think they were already burning. He just threw more gasoline on the fire. That's all he was doing.
Speaking of Scott Frost, he is the newest member of the Los Angeles Rams. He's on the Rams staff now. He just got hired a couple of days ago.
Yeah, who was he with before? I just saw his name.
I don't think he was employed.
I don't know what Scott Frost was doing up there in Nebraska.
Yeah, I don't think he got employed until just now. But yeah, Nebraska got a big opportunity this week. They all eyes will be on them because they're playing Colorado.
It's in Nebraska too.
Yeah, they cannot lose this game to Colorado because they will just get dogged on social media. Because you watch anything Colorado related, they're only going to show Colorado highlights. They're not going to show any scores from Nebraska really, because that's what they did against NDSU. I didn't see any NDSU touchdowns on ESPN when they were going back and forth with Colorado.
They might for this game because the quarterback. They might look for this game because the quarterback they think resembles a little Patrick Mahomes the way he plays. So I can see them showing. Oh, this is the guy, Luke, that I believe Cam knows, the second string running back Ohio State transfer who's on Colorado. So he roots for Colorado for his buddy. Which is fine. I won't get mad at that. You're rooting for your high school buddy.
Can't do it.
Your defense is going to have to put some work in this week.
But I can't do it.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. Hey, catch of the year already. One of the catches of the year already, though. That Travis Hunter catch was filthy in the end zone. You can hate on Colorado all you want to. That
like Elastomaniac over there, the way he fucking bent to catch that ball. I don't know how
his face was getting ripped pretty much too. That was a.
I thought that should have been pass interference too, but
they didn't call it. I didn't. I was out.
I don't think they called it at all.
No, but that game, that is, I believe, a night game. That's NBC's night game, Nebraska and Colorado at 7:30. So we'll probably talk a little bit about that tomorrow night. But yeah, that is a NBC primetime game. So I'll have the TV
of course they're gonna put Colorado in primetime. Everybody wants to watch them.
I'm okay. I'm okay with them being in primetime for this one because I want to see the Nebraska quarterback, and I want to see Travis Hunter. So
I'm going to tell you right now. Are they in Colorado this year?
I think it's in Lincoln. I think it was in Colorado last year.
That's right. Because they stormed the field in a win that meant absolutely nothing for them. One of their 4 wins that they had last year. But I swear, I want to see Nebraska win, and I want to see Nebraska storm the field.
I don't know if they do though. I mean, winning, yeah.
No, because Nebraska's classy, and they don't storm the field against nobody.
Yeah, I don't think storming the field happens as much anymore. I know some conferences they ban. I know some conferences
in Colorado do it like every win.
Exactly, Cam. My point exactly. The defense is horrific, and they were still like a top 25 defense. And I know it's by EA, but college football 25 put them as a top. Like they're not good. They have Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders, and that is it. Like Deion's other kid,
they have pretty good.
I think Jimmy Horn's pretty good.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Jimmy Horn Jr.
Other than that,
he looked good last year too.
Game, but
no, Jimmy Horn played last year.
Shiloh Sanders was taking all kinds of late hits, not getting called at all.
Oh,
dude, he's about to get kicked out of the family.
He got called for that one late hit.
He had one. I know he had a bunch because like every time I saw him trying to make a tackle, it was a late hit.
No, yeah, definitely late hit. And let's talk one more topic, Luke. This one was saved for you. So hoping Chris is going to be on tonight. Is Brian Kelly on the hot seat? Is his seat getting warm?
Yeah, I know. I said it. I said it real early, and I see all these other sports media pages starting to talk about it now. Barstool is saying he's on the hot seat now. Chris didn't want to believe it. I mean, the LSU fan base, I don't think they liked him in the first place. Him coming down there, his fake Southern accent just rubbed everybody the wrong way, and him not winning an opening game his 3 years is not helping his case at all. And I mean, he just takes no responsibility for his own team. This is his team at this point, right? I mean, you can't say it's not his team anymore.
No, it's third year.
Most of these players, like he's recruited, or he's pulled them from the transfer portal, and the players he didn't want, he probably told them to hit the portal and leave. So this is Brian Kelly's team, but he's not taking responsibility like it's a Brian Kelly team.
I know you said that you were shocked that I'm not higher, like, louder. I mean, I'm not a Brian Kelly fan. I've never been a Brian Kelly fan at all. I just don't think the hot seat's on yet. Not yet. And I said that keyword on the messages. It's not yet.
The seat warmer turned on though? Is the seat warmer turned on?
It's not even your fingers on the button. It's on the button. I don't think it is yet because, like I said, back-to-back 10-win seasons. I get it. You lost week one. You lost to USC.
Back-to-back 10-win seasons, but you're not competing for playoff spots.
But this year, we don't know yet this year. Now it's a 12-man, so now they potentially could. If they go 10-2, they could. I mean, we don't know yet. That's what I'm saying. It's not there yet. If he struggles this year,
I mean, I'm not saying their season's over, but I mean, they drop 2 more games, they get the 3-loss team, then that seat's gonna be pretty hot.
Then it's
LSU fan base. Yeah. They want wins. They want championships. That's what they want down at LSU because that's all they fucking got down there in Baton Rouge.
I mean, they fired.
Is
that
LSU?
They fired, or they didn't fire him. The total. Here's the money. They let go of Coach O 2 years after his national championship.
Yeah. So I mean,
and 1 year was a COVID year.
LSU is not going to hang on to Brian Kelly longer than they have to if he's not putting out. If he's not putting off playoff caliber teams.
I just need to see the season. I need to see the season develop before I say the season's the seat's hot. I just don't think it's there yet.
This is his make or break year, I think.
The season.
I don't think he may not get fired this year, but he's not getting any colder.
I don't think the seat's hot, but it's definitely warming up because his team show what they can do. And, coming in here, you got to keep that winning mentality going. You got to keep that winning tradition going. And they're just not seeing what they want to see.
So I have a question then.
Undisciplined team, like so many penalties on them, like stupid penalties too, tauntings, late hits, targeting.
It's dumb shit like not being able to control your team, and that's where the head coach is at fault.
Well, I have a question then. If, let's say Norvell did not get paid, would both of them be on the same situation where their seats are hot?
No, because FSU went undefeated last season.
They did.
So, I mean, they had the opportunity to be in the playoffs last year.
He's only
the playoffs.
Only 2 starts this year is not put him on the hot seat, Mark.
But Chris made a good point though, where it was 2 years
has not been in
the
conversation.
They were though.
Conversation for
they were in the SEC championship in his first season. Yeah, you cannot say that in the conversation.
They were the 2-loss team going into the SEC championship.
And they had a shot.
That was their championship game because they didn't have a shot at the playoffs because they won it, right?
In 2022,
and they didn't make the playoffs.
Well, they didn't win the SEC championship in 2021 or 2022. Georgia won it.
Didn't they win his first year?
No, he won the West his first year.
Oh, same. Well,
Georgia won the SEC championship in 2022. So, but that's my thing is like Chris, and I agree with Chris a little bit. Mike Norvell's been banking off.
So Norvell's got an ACC championship win at least. Brian Kelly hasn't won any championship.
But it was 2 years of Jordan Travis. His first 2 years were dog shit. I give him the third year, he had a good year. Fourth year, had a good year. But now when the quarterback gets replaced, like Jane Daniels got replaced, they're struggling.
Oh, you see
what were you saying earlier about versus stay good?
What BK inherited?
LSU's been back-to-back 10-win season. Brian Kelly has not had a bad season at LSU. Mike Norvell had 2 bad seasons to start his career at Florida State, and now his third year in his fifth year or his third year in 5 years.
He inherited the fucking mess that Willie Taggart left.
And LSU was bad. LSU was bad.
I'm hopping.
They were not that bad.
You're gonna fucking bring up 2 bad years. You're gonna bring up 2 bad years after Willie Taggart. If you think Mike Norvell has anything to do with that, dude, come on.
You do realize that Coach O.
So you realize he took those 2 shitty years post Willie Taggart and turned this into a 10-3 team.
And this year, and now it's his, like Luke said, in your 5th year, that's definitely your team. It's 0-2.
Yeah. They went 13-0 last year. Mark, why is he on the hot seat for 2 games? People were saying fire Jim Harbaugh after his back-to-back 10-win seasons to start his career. When he won 8 wins his 3rd season, people were talking about firing Jim Harbaugh after his 3rd season. It's okay for us to say about Jim Harbaugh going and getting fired after a bad 3rd season. I don't fucking remember what I said about Jim Harbaugh. That was like 15 years ago. All of us were.
Everyone said Jim should have been fired by year 3 and 4 because he couldn't get past Ohio State. He couldn't get to the playoffs. I'm just saying if Mike Norvell didn't
he didn't have Stallions working.
I'm saying though, if Mike Norvell did not get paid, he'd be in the same boat, honestly, right now as Brian Kelly. 2 good seasons, and I mean, we're talking about fucking getting rid of Brian Kelly right now when he's only lost 1 game throughout the season. We still have a whole season ahead of him.
No, nobody said get rid of Brian Kelly right now. He's
getting
hot.
It's not.
I just said it's warming up. I didn't even say it's hot. I said it's warming up.
I don't even think it's warm. I mean, shit, he loses to USC, and let's say he goes 10-2, 11-1. I mean, is it really warm? I mean, is it still warm?
All right.
No, it's not at that point, Mark, but it's warming up right now.
I don't think it is.
Not
yet, at least.
Ole Miss comes into Baton Rouge and blows them out.
Oh, then yeah, I'll start talking about it. I'm not talking about against week 1 against USC when he's lost his last 2 season openers and they've been 10-2 in the regular season. I can't sit there because that's the trend, right? If he goes 10-2 this year, you could be in the playoffs with 10-2. I mean, he did what he did. I mean, he lost. I mean, he lost week 1. He's lost the last 2 years, so we'll see. I'm just saying everyone calling Brian Kelly should be calling for all the other coaches like Dabo. I mean, I get
Dabo. I think is one that, depending on how this season goes, especially with the back step back last year,
he might leave himself.
And I'm saying if Norvell did not get paid, I think his seat would be a little warm at the moment too, because the Florida State boosters aren't going to appreciate that. I mean, I get he took over Taggart's job.
You're right, but there's no. I agree with you. You're right. They're not happy, but at the end of the day, you're coming off with 13-0.
I mean, I get that, but if you go 13-0 and then you come out and you fucking go 7-5, that's come on, like that's bad coaching. That's bad coaching with bad play. And I get
Boston College is always a big rivalry game for us.
Was Georgia Tech a big rivalry game too?
Did I say anything about Georgia Tech?
I mean, I'm just saying it's 2 losses. I mean, and Jones' excuse was when you're a bad team, you win against Boston College.
What were we talking about? What were we doing earlier? We were talking about something college or something NFL. Like, you're sitting here telling me rivalries don't matter, but you literally told me like a week ago rivalries matter.
Rivals do y'all have? I mean, how many fucking rivals does Florida State have? So you have Clemson, Florida State, or Florida, Miami, and Boston College. So half of your schedule almost is a fucking rivalry game.
I don't view Clemson as a rival.
They're more of a rival than Boston College at the moment. It's been literally Clemson and Florida State the last decade decade and a half for the ACC. It's been either one of those 2 teams that have run the conference, essentially. A handful of teams here and there maybe won the ACC, but...
Oh, Louisville's been in there. Who was that dog shit quarterback that played at Louisville?
It has not been Louisville. It's been...
Cunningham?
That's the one. That's the one. Nailed it.
And Napier is another Florida coach. He should be fired probably halfway through the season.
Let him lose to UCF. He loses to UCF, and I don't think he makes it past like 2 weeks after that.
If he loses to UCF, I think he's fired. I think he's fired that day.
I agree with you, Mark. I mean, getting paid is definitely going to save Norvell. I think that had he not just gotten paid, a losing record this year definitely, or not going to a bowl game definitely, heats up that seat. But I mean, if Florida State wins out, finishes 10-2, they're not like Norvell's not in the hot seat. It was a rough start. Figure out where you went wrong, and don't let it happen again. You know.
Well, that's what I just said about Kelly, though. I mean, seats should be warm though for both of them. Then that's my point. Both seats should be getting warm. Then if one's hot, if one's warm for one should be warm for the other.
I don't know. My understanding is the boosters are very much loving. The boosters are very much loving Norvell.
But I agree with Chris too. Like I don't think they're going to get rid of Kelly neither, or even get the seat warm because his recruiting classes. He just got the best quarterback. I think he might have got the best corner as well. Like his recruiting classes are high, so I think they're going to let Kelly. They're going to give him some years to keep feeding these classes in. I'm not a Kelly fan. I've never been a Brian Kelly fan. Didn't like him in Notre Dame.
Allegedly, he killed a guy.
Allegedly,
he killed a guy.
Oh yeah, I'm not a big Brian Kelly fan, but I agree with Chris to that point where I just don't think it's on the hot seat yet.
Yeah,
not even warming.
Yeah, Napier's definitely in the hot seat, and he's coming at his own fan base. in the media.
Boys.
Oh, rural Central Florida. People talking shit in their basements. I guess he doesn't know Florida well enough to know people don't have basements in Florida.
Yeah, it's a state that you don't typically have.
Yeah, that would be a terrible spot to have a basement.
Yeah.
Yeah, Napier's been
there's no fan base, and UCF's making some T-shirts called Rural Central Florida. For their
but
make some money off of them.
Napier should learn how to open a bottle of water. I was
going to say that motherfucker can't even open a bottle of water when he's out here talking shit.
That was his biggest L of the weekend right there.
I think that really was. That was a new low for him. I think his hot seat's fine. I think his seat's heating up just over that water bottle.
Yeah, that's
like, dude, you can't be up there looking like. And he didn't look small in that video either. You know what I mean? Man was looking like he was pressing. Yeah, man looks like he's pressing, and he couldn't get that water bottle open.
But boys,
we are that shit to fuck with him.
We are just get ready to sign out. We back tomorrow night. Chris should be on. No Jake. So the OG squad will be back in here for our predictions. I'll have Jake and Alan's picks. Luke, what were you got to say?
Yeah, I won't be on tomorrow.
God damn it.
Yeah, I know. I have a work event tomorrow evening.
So definitely text me definitely text me. Definitely text me your picks, man.
Little social going on.
Oh, one of those.
Yeah.
So good for us
in
enlisted
town.
folk, huh?
What's that?
Too good for us enlisted folk.
Yeah. I guess so. I don't know. I'm being forced to go, so
yeah.
The big boss comes to town, buys out a bar for the O's. I guess you got to show up.
You got to show up.
Must be nice to get that.
Well, then, Doc, I'll have Luke's, Jake's, and Alan's picks for the show. It'll just be me, you, and Chris tomorrow. So tomorrow we'll be previewing this wonderful week of the NFL. We're a couple days away. We're going to talk a little college football as well. A couple big games this weekend to talk about. And tomorrow will be a fun episode, I think, between NFL and NCAA. So, Luke, good luck to your Ravens. We're not going to see you tomorrow night.
Yep, go Ravens.
I need Mark Andrews to have a good game, and Derrick Henry. But I'm Mark Davis. That's Luke Rule. That's Nick the Doc Skirkwinch. Out to the other three boys. This is All About the Boss podcast. Have a good night. We are out.